It's 2025, and this year I'm trying to help 100 people invest in real estate. In my mind, these 100 people are broken up into three groups. The first group plans to purchase rental properties without living in the property themselves. These are no house hackers, these are pure investors. The second group collectively invests in properties. These are members of my joint venture. And the third group is made of people just like you, individuals who are trying to buy their own home. I'm Deandra McDonald with Simple Real Estate, and I've designed this video series to help primary homeowners who just need a little extra support buy their own home. Because when I ask y'all why you're still renting, I typically get the same answer. It's not that I don't want to buy, I just can't save enough while I'm renting. So my goal with this series is to show you programs that will get you the funds you need to close. This video was broken up into three parts. The first gives an overall description of the program, the second talks about each applicant's specific qualifications, and the third talks about how to apply. All of the necessary documents and links will be housed on our free Teachable page for you to access below. All I'd like you to do is listen along, take notes, and ask any questions you have below in the comments, okay? Okay. This video is about a closing cost assistance program in Virginia. What is this particular program? The goal of the Virginia Housing Closing Cost Assistance Grant is to help homeowners buy homes that are safe, decent, and accessible. It should not be seen as an entitlement accessible to all Virginians. It is a first-come, first-served, limited public resource to help those who would otherwise struggle to finance a home. This is a true grant, compared to other programs which offer funds in terms of a secondary loan. The difference between loans and grants is simply the repayment process. Loans have to be repaid. Grants do not, unless you break the original agreement. With this program, you do not have to repay the grant unless you sell the property or move out before your affordability period is over. Your affordability period is the amount of time you've agreed to live in the home based on the amount of assistance you've received. If you receive less than $15,000, your affordability period is 5 years. If you receive between $15,000 and $40,000, your affordability period is 10 years. If you receive more than $40,000, your affordability period is 15 years. You do not have to repay the grant as long as you live in the property for that period of time. If you decide to sell or rent the property before your affordability period is up, you have to repay all the money. If you wait until after that period, you can keep the grant free and clear. This program is for all counties in Virginia as long as the property is a single-family home. At one point, this program could have been used for multifamily properties, but that has now changed. The house could be a new build, or it could be 100 years old. It could be a condo, townhouse, or a manufactured home. The vast majority of single-family homes qualify as long as the property is on a permanent foundation and can pass the inspection. Once you've identified a few counties you wouldn't mind living in, the next step to getting this assistance is selecting a loan. Since this program is just for closing costs, you still need to qualify for a traditional primary residence loan. And the four options are typically FHA, USDA, VA, or conventional. However, this grant is only for USDA and VA loans. Both of these loans have 0% down payments, meaning you can almost come out of pocket for nothing if that home qualifies. The maximum amount you can receive from this program is 2% of the purchase price. That 2% can go to your closing costs, your Rural Housing Service Guarantee, or your VA funding fee. Since each loan has a different funding fee, the amount of grant left over for other closing costs varies. After you pay that fee, roughly 1% to 1.5% of the purchase price, you're able to use the remainder for other closing costs, appraisals, title insurance, origination fees, etc. Now, one of the great things about this program is that it allows you to double dip in a few different ways. To start, it is still completely allowed for you to ask the seller for help with your closing costs. In many areas, it is typical to request 1 to 3% back at closing. This, in combination with the grant, is fantastic. You aren't allowed to get any money back at the closing table, but you could get yourself pretty close to zero out of pocket. You're also able to find another program to help cover more closing costs. Your total assistance just can't equate to more than 10% of the purchase price unless the county you select is deemed high cost or chronically economically depressed by the state. In that case, your total assistance can go up to 15%. Although the program does offer up to 2% in closing cost assistance, the overall loan amount is not infinite. There are maximums. Even if you qualify for a higher loan amount because you have the credit or you have the income, there are still caps on the program. Those limits vary county to county and change somewhat frequently. What you're seeing on your screen right now is the most recent list we had before we published this video. But as Virginia edits the list, we will update it on our Teachable platform. In this second section of the video, I'd like to discuss applicant qualifications. What do you specifically need to qualify? Before we go through these requirements, it would help if you could answer the 4 following questions. Which counties do you want to live in? How much is your gross income? How much cash is in your bank account? And what is the minimum monthly payment for each of your debts? Once you have these answers, we can more easily determine if you qualify for the program or not. Let's start with the county. Depending on the county, you can be either a first-time homeowner or you could be a repeat purchaser. First-time VA homeowners can qualify for every county in the state. To qualify as a first-time homeowner, you have either never purchased before or you haven't owned real estate for the last 3 years. First-time USDA homeowners can qualify in any county that also qualifies for USDA housing. In our Teachable, we've linked the USDA eligibility map for you to look up your target property address. It is very important for you to look up that address of your ideal property in advance. Some counties in Virginia qualify completely, some do not qualify at all, and some have partial qualifications. These qualifications do change over time as the population/usage of the county changes, so frequent checks are useful. If you are a repeat buyer, so you've owned property in the last 3 years, you can only use this program in targeted counties. Those targeted counties are currently on the screen and will also be uploaded to our Teachable. If you can still qualify for your ideal county, the next thing to consider is your income. There are income limits set for every county in Virginia. The limit is 80% of the area's median income set by HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. With the scrolling list, check the income of your ideal county. If you make less than the maximum, you still qualify. Now we have to look at your liquid assets to make sure you aren't over that limit. Because these 2 loans do not require down payments, there is a very real chance you will not have to come out of pocket at all. An additional stipulation of this grant is that you can't have more than 10% of the purchase price in cash. For example, if the house is worth $200,000, you can't have more than $20,000 in the bank. For a $500,000 house, that would be $50,000, and so on and so forth. Remember, this program is to help people who would otherwise struggle closing on a home. If you have more than 10% liquidated, the program assumes that that barrier isn't present. The next and final applicant criteria is your debt-to-income ratio, known more simply as your DTI. The maximum DTI you can have with this program is 43%. The maximum mortgage ratio you can have is 33%. Quick calculation reminder, you get your debt-to-income ratio by dividing your total monthly debt payments by your monthly gross income. For many, this formula is difficult to understand without an example, so I'm going to use my 2015 self. I was making $28,000 per year, bringing my total monthly gross income to $2,333 per month. If I had no other debt, my maximum mortgage ratio could be $2,333 times 33%, giving me a total of $770 per month. Unfortunately, I did have debt. I paid $200 per month in student loans, $250 per month for a car payment, and $75 per month for my credit cards. That is a total monthly debt payment of $525 per month. When I divide my total monthly debt by my monthly gross income, I get a debt-to-income ratio of 22%. The total I'm allowed to have is 43%, so I'm under the limit for this program. However, because I've used up 22% of my 43% maximum debt allowance on other debt, I only have 21% left for my mortgage, making my new limit $490 per month. With no debt, I would have qualified for $770 per month. Because I had debt, that amount decreased to $490. If you can't qualify at this step for your ideal property, you have 3 options. Option 1 is to make more money. Option 2 is to pay down your debt. And option 3 is to negotiate a cheaper price. If these don't work, you'd unfortunately have to find a more affordable home. If you've made it to this point, congratulations. This sounds like a program that could work for you. So how do you apply? This grant operates through local partnerships with permanent governmental entities, nonprofit housing service providers, and mortgage lenders across the Commonwealth. So in order to apply, you must start with these specific groups. The list scrolling on your screen will also be uploaded to our Teachable. The approved lenders will enroll you in any necessary counseling classes and help you as you submit your loan application. Unfortunately, if there is no provider in your county, you cannot apply, but the list is updated constantly as more servicers get licensed. We'll update as frequently as we can. So that's a breakdown of one of the many closing cost assistance programs based in Virginia. Like I mentioned earlier, all of the documents, along with any of the slides presented today, are located in our free Teachable platform in the caption below. This is where we plan to organize all of the national and state-specific programs you can access for any area you're considering living. Feel free to register for whichever states catch your eye. If you have any questions, please ask them below. We will answer as many as we can and ask the professionals operating the program if we don't know ourselves. Hopefully this was helpful, and please let us know if you make it through the program and successfully close this year. We'd love for you to be part of the 100. Again, I'm Deandra McDonald with Simple Real Estate, and I'll see you in the next video.